Hello, my dear students and parents. Welcome to Global Learners, an online platform spreading knowledge all over the world. Today, we are going to discuss the topic properties of quadrilaterals. This is a series. Today, we are starting with parallelogram. So, let us discuss what is a parallelogram. You must be knowing that what is a quadrilateral. Quadrilateral is a polygon with four sides. The quadrilaterals are made up of four line segments, and when you will add all the angles of a quadrilateral, that is going to be 360 degrees. So this is the general information which I gave you about quadrilateral. So if I classify parallelogram, so parallelograms are of different kinds. All the rectangles, they are also the parallelograms. So all the rectangles, they are parallelograms. They are special kind of parallelograms. All the squares, they are also parallelogram, and rhombus is also a parallelogram. So in general, I'm going to discuss the properties of a parallelogram, but all the properties would be equally applicable to all the rectangles, squares, and rhombus, because all rectangles are parallelogram, all squares are parallelogram, and all rhombus are also parallelogram as well. So first thing, there are three conditions by which you can prove that a given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Case number one. In case number one, I'm naming this parallelogram A, B, C, D. This is suppose a quadrilateral. So a quadrilateral is said to be a parallelogram in three cases. There are more cases, but generally I'm speaking three cases are there. If both the pairs of opposite sides are congruent, if both the pairs of opposite sides are congruent, I am using the word both here. So therefore, if AB is congruent or equal to CD and AD is congruent and equal to BC, that is a parallelogram. So for being a parallelogram, both the opposite side must be congruent. So I'm writing it, AB is congruent to CD and AD is congruent to BC. If simultaneously this condition would be fulfilled, my quadrilateral would be a parallelogram. Condition number two, if both the opposite sides are parallel, then also my given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So simultaneously I'm speaking, if AD is parallel to BC and if AB is parallel to CD, then also my given quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So this is OR, okay? And one more condition is there. If any of them would be fulfilled, then my quadrilateral will become a parallelogram. The third condition is any one pair of opposite side, any one pair of opposite sides, they must be congruent and parallel at the same time. Any one pair I'm saying. So if AB is congruent to CD, AB is congruent to CD, and at the same time, if AB is parallel to CD, then my given quadrilateral will become a parallelogram. Or the same thing, any one pair of opposite side must be congruent as well as parallel. So this can be done if AD would be parallel to BC and at the same time AD would be congruent to CD, then that would be a parallelogram. So these are three conditions, three cases for being a parallelogram. Now some of the more properties of parallelogram in general I'm discussing. So in parallelogram, the opposite sides are parallel and the opposite sides are congruent as well. So first property I'm writing here, opposite side, that means AB is parallel to CD, that is the opposite side, and also AD is parallel to BC. Okay, these condition I told you for reasoning and proof. If you are in IGCSE board or in US curriculum, you must have a chapter in geometry in grade 10th in America. You must have a chapter in geometry where you have to prove. So that chapter is called reasoning and proof. So for that, I told you three conditions. Now I'm going to talk about the features, the properties of parallelogram. So both the opposite sides are parallel. Both the opposite sides are equal as well. So AB is congruent to CD and AD is congruent to BC. So these are the two general properties. Then opposite angles are congruent. I mean, angle A would be congruent to angle C, and in similar way, angle D would be congruent to angle B. So therefore, both the opposite angles are congruent. That means angle A is congruent to angle C and angle B is congruent to angle D. That is another property for parallelogram. The fourth property, which I'm going to tell you right now, the adjacent angles are supplementary. If you have studied the parallel and transversal line, you must be knowing about the co-interior angles. So if this line is parallel to this line, then if you will see carefully, AD and BC are acting as transversal. And you know that these two angles, the adjacent angle, they are supplementary, they are co-interior. Their sum is equal to 180 degrees. So therefore the same property would be applied here as well. That means the sum of angle A plus angle D is equal to 180. All the adjacent angle, all the consecutive angle, they add up to 180. They are supplementary. That is the property. Or I could say angle A plus angle B is also equal to 180. In same way, angle B plus angle C is also equal to 180, and angle C and angle D. Angle C and angle D. Just a second. Just a second. I think you are understanding all the points. So angle C plus angle D, that will also make 180. So all the adjacent angle, they are equal to 180. Now the another property for parallelogram is the diagonals of parallelogram, they bisect each other. What is the meaning of bisecting? Bisecting means dividing into two equal parts. So here the diagonals of parallelogram are AC and BD. They are diagonals and they are bisecting at point M. Suppose that, okay? And if this is the case, this would be equal to this one and this would be equal to this one. That means the diagonals of parallelogram, they are bisecting. That means AM segment would be congruent to MC or CM segment, and in same way DM segment, line segment, would be congruent to BM or MB, whatever you could say. So I'm writing BM here. So that is the case to which I'm pointing out. So you understood these are the properties of parallelogram. One more thing, here are few things which you need to remember. The angles, the opposite angles are only equal, as I told you. And in parallelogram, the angles are not equal to 90 degrees. If the angle will become, if any one angle will become 90 degree, that will become a special parallelogram. That would be a rectangle. So the angles are not equal to 90 degree. One more point, here the diagonals are bisecting each other, but at the same time, the diagonals are not equal to each other. AM is equal to CM, DM is equal to BM, but the diagonals are not equal to each other. AC is not equal to BD. In rectangle, the diagonals are also equal to each other. So in a parallelogram, when the diagonals become equal, or when any angle will become 90 degree, then that parallelogram will be rectangle. So this is the point to note it down. The diagonals, they only bisect each other. They are not equal to each other in a parallelogram. The angle is not 90 degree. So that is the point you need to remember. I hope you understood all the properties of parallelogram. So, so I'm going to continue the series. I'm going to discuss all the quadrilaterals one by one in detail as I told you this one. If you want to join my private tutoring session, then you can contact me. The information is given in the comment box. Have a nice day.